Cool, dude.
So I wanted you to look at these pictures. I didn't know. I forgot you were on the group, and I want you to
invited me,
look.
though.
I know I did. I just forgot just now. I've been drinking for like 3 days straight. So here's the thing. Go ahead.
Okay.
Grab your phone.
Okay.
And look at those pictures.
Okay.
Start with that first one that just showed up.
First picture is...
Don't describe it. Don't describe it just yet. Just look at it.
It looks like you're just ahead.
Describe it.
Why not describe?
Not yet. Not yet.
Wait,
not
and
yet.
then it's food.
And
That's
then
not...
and then the next one. Next one's blank, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
Next
button
one.
face. Oh my God, you're so trash. Oh my God. You look so sad.
Yep.
And then you just look even sadder.
And then I'm in a trash can.
Wait, I haven't gotten there yet. I'm looking at Q-Tex. Oh my gosh, look at you sitting in the trash can.
And then one more after that. That's it.
Aw, sweet hug.
That
and
was
then
right
a
bef-
kitten.
That was right before.
And then another kitten.
No, don't worry about those. That gets nowhere.
Current status.
That gets nowhere. So, hi everybody. Welcome to Le Brightside
Le Brightside.
with Mikey and Rachel. I am Zer Mikey.
I am Zer Rachel.
She's still going on her Russian thing, and this is where this is the podcast that turns into horrible messes. But we start with Lindy Hop, and then we move into Russian accents, and then we move into the old country.
You guys, so on Tuesday, I went to my improv class, and they were taking roll, and so my teacher called my name, and I was like, yes, I am here. And then one of my classmates was like, did you just speak in a Russian accent? And I was like, you're right, I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. I'm really embarrassed.
And then
everyone started talking in a Russian accent.
I love that your improv classes basically turns into like musical theater. But
it is.
Like even more geekier.
It is like that. Like as soon as you instigate something, everyone will start doing it immediately.
Yeah. I like it. It's fun because everybody's like listening, but at the same time they're like, that's funny. I gotta find a joke in that. And I'm like, ooh.
How can I escalate this even further? And it was your birthday this weekend. Happy birthday, Mikey.
Thank you.
Mikey just turned 75. He's collecting Social Security. Finally. He's dyeing his hair so that you can't see any of the grays.
Keep going.
And, dentures, hearing aids, eyeballs?
Yeah, eyeballs. New eyeballs.
Oh, new eyeballs.
New eyeballs, yeah.
Really great. How is it being 75?
A lot more farts than usual.
Yeah.
Creaky bones.
Uh-huh.
As soon as I said that, you gave me that wide eye, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orthopedic shoes.
I mean, that's always been
obviously
around. Always been around.
The ones that you can like roll through that have like the.
Honestly, I can't wait till I'm old enough that I need to have those because I'm just be like, I'm gonna walk on air.
I'm walking on air, so far away into the clouds.
And then
I'm walking on air.
It's so great for the podcast when you do things just for me. You guys, she like had a moment. She had a moment before she hit the top note. She was like moving the microphone away and then bring it back.
I did.
But yeah, so it was my birthday.
How was your party? How was it? Tell me.
It was hurtful.
Because I didn't get to go.
I know. You guys would have seen the mess I was.
Yes.
Those are the pictures that I made you see at the top of this. Before we introduced ourselves, and so the night started off really good.
Okay.
And it was on Friday night. Friday night. Saturday was actually my birthday, and Friday night we went out to a bar called O'Hare's, and we went there and we just started playing pool and hanging out and drinking a little bit, and I was super happy to see all my friends around. It was great. And then we went to we drank a lot there, and then we went to another bar, and I didn't think I drank that much, but apparently I did.
You did. These pictures of Mikey, he's like slumped over on the curb, and he has two, like a person on either side of him, like holding him up, and his head is just like, there's like no energy in his head.
It's all the way down.
He looks like he's dead.
Like chin to chest.
Chin to chest. Sad face.
So here's the thing. I went there, and I may have had another little thing.
Uh-huh.
And it was a lot. It was a lot to handle.
Uh-huh.
and
Are
I
you talking
took
about
it.
the marijuana?
No. I had candy.
Oh.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you? And then
I just
and
had
I
a
don't do
peppermint
it.
candy.
I don't do it very often now. Since it's legal here in California.
Hey.
I had the little candy, and then I may have taken another candy by kind of because I was like,
kind of
why
by
not?
accident.
Kind of by accident. Why not? And it was a lot. So come like 1 a.m. when everyone like we have another hour to party basically at the club, and then we were gonna go back after party at our friend's house. And come like 1 p.m., 1 a.m., I'm dancing. We're dancing. Yay! And then we kind of stop dancing, and then I move over, and I'm like, oh no, I feel like I'm falling asleep. Like I felt like I was falling asleep. Like as I'm walking, and I'm walking over, and I look at Nikki, and I grab her and take her down with me, and we fall down to the floor. And I remember laughing a little bit, and then like falling asleep.
Oh my God!
And then people picked me up, and I woke up, and I was like, huh. I'm not walking, but I'm walking out of here. And I see it's like Juan is taking me out of the club, and we're just like walking away, and I'm like, huh, crazy. And then I fell asleep again before we got outside. And then we got outside, and that picture you just saw, the first one of me on the ground. And I'm like, how did I get here? And I'm like looking at everybody, guys, everything's great. And I like got up and like started hugging some people, and I was like, yay, you got here, you came here, great.
Oh my God.
And then I fell asleep again, and they were trying to take me back home. Luckily, my friend's house is Nikki's house is only like 3 blocks away. And so I was trying to make it, and I was trying to like fall asleep, or rather I was trying to stay awake, but I kept falling asleep and waking back up and like trying to walk, but like I couldn't put any weight in my legs, and I was like tired. It felt like I was falling asleep every time. And I kept thinking to myself, I remember like these little parts.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, I didn't drink that much. And then I forgot that
it was the candy. It was the candy.
So then after that, we went back to the house. They put me in a bed, and then they were like making sure I was safe. And as soon as they were like, okay, you're fine. I was like, I'm fine. And I could kind of hear them. And then I heard, get the Sharpie. So yeah.
No.
So if you look at my face right here.
Oh my God, I see it. No, I see it. Yeah.
I scrubbed it, but I still have to do it with like nail polish remover.
Is it on your forehead too?
There's a little bit. No, this part right here is because I'm scratching because of your cats.
Oh, because cats.
But right here, you can see it's a little bit dark and over my eye a little bit.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
I used to have a black eye.
Did they draw a penis on you?
Yes, they did.
Oh my God.
Where's the picture of it? I forgot.
Oh
I have it somewhere in here.
gosh.
And hold on real quick. I have to pull this up for you because you're gonna fucking die. So riveting podcast material right now.
It's the best.
I mean, here's one of them.
Oh no!
Yeah, so you can see
no!
They put a penis
They
on
put
me.
a penis
They put
right
a peace
on
sign. They put a peace sign on
right
me.
on his face, you guys.
And
with
then
hairy
they gave me-
balls, and they gave him
me-
big eyebrows.
They gave me Bowie eyebrows.
And I like Egyptian eyeliner.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And then they wrote in my hand and everything. And then
That's so mean.
But the
That's
thing
so
is,
funny.
I remember them doing that, right? I remember them doing all that stuff, and I remember thinking, I'm like, God, I hate you people. And I was so pissed. And then I got to and then I like even still in my like stupor where I'm like feeling the pen like touch my skin, like I'm like, but they would never do this to anybody else. They would only do it to me because they know that this is something that
they could get away with.
I would be like, that was funny, guys. This is really fun. You
Oh
know?
my
So
God.
I was like, nah, I'm okay with this.
The only time I've ever felt like that in my entire life was when I got my wisdom teeth taken out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I guess they put me down in like a room to rest for a little bit, and then they like had my mom pull around to the back, and then they like I remember them like helping me get in the car. And I don't really remember this, but my mom said that I was trying to stay awake by holding my eyelid open with my finger, but I kept falling asleep, so my eyelid was like looked like this.
Yeah. Looking down away, like I'm trying to do this.
Like I'm trying so hard to stay awake.
You guys know, really, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm fine. My eyelid is open, see?
Why do you always look like you're surprised? No, I'm fine.
I'm fine. Oh my God,
but
that's so funny.
So they did that. So they did that to me.
I missed out drawing on your face.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
and my hands.
Man.
And one
and
more.
your
one
side.
More. Again, riveting.
Oh my God.
Can you read it?
Oh
Is
my.
it still there?
I stole your kidney. Is
Yeah,
that what it says?
Yeah, it
Oh
stole
my God.
kidney in there.
That's hilarious.
So
And also terrifying because
Yeah.
what if you actually woke up and that had happened to you?
I would have woke up in a bath of ice. So says the stories.
So says the
But
stories.
I mean, here's the thing: like that, I got messed up that night. I was with so many good people. They took such good care of me. Such good care of me. And then they they wrote on me. It's not bad. It's not bad. I think I woke up the next day and I felt pretty good until I got home, and then I was like "Bleh," a couple times.
Oh,
and
man.
then I took a nap, and then I felt great. And
Aw.
then we a shitload of tacos, and it was really good.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was a really great day, and I think I won't do that again for a while though.
Well, you don't have that many years left if you've turned 75. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, you could live to 100, but who knows?
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
It'll just be me and some cockroaches.
A sad 25 years left.
Sad, no, exciting because I have walking
exciting.
on
the orthopedic
orthopedic
shoes.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
walking
my
on air.
God.
But
Oh
you
my
know
God.
what we did last week, and was really, really good to help slip into our topic that we had
Yeah.
today. A little bit is that we had a shag dance, Carolina shag workshop last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was really good because they were giving feedback and they would tell us what we would need to change and how
Yeah.
like the best way to understand it is like, oh, when you do it like that, it's a little more like Balboa. If you do it like this, it's a little more like Lindy Hop. You know, like it just depends. Like in our minds, they would say, oh, when you do it like that, it's a little bit new school. Oh, it's a little bit more old school, because they were trying to teach like the history of it. So like
Oh, interesting.
how they originally quote unquote did it. You know.
Did you go to the workshop?
Yeah. Oh, I took the whole
How was it?
It was really fun. It was really great. It was really
Aw.
great because like their music that they dance to is the stuff that I started dancing to when I was at Memories. So I was like 12, 13, 14 years old.
Memories.
I say that all the time, and the thing is like that
From
doesn't hold any place for you, does it? You're like,
long
you have no idea what I speak
ago.
about.
I have no memories of the place where we used to dance so long ago.
And then hard rock beat.
Oh.
Every time I bring that up, you want to sing that song, don't you?
I do. I do.
But they used to play like that kind of slower R&B 50s music,
Yeah.
like late 40s, like Big Joe Turner. He would play a
Yeah.
lot with like Count Basie.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like a really deep voice, but when he had his own band, it was a little more almost rock and rollish, but not like Bill Haley and not like Elvis, not like that stuff.
Yeah.
But harder than like Frank Sinatra and all those guys.
Still like in the
It's still swung.
jazz vein.
Yeah,
but
it still swung. And so they played that music, and so that made it easy to like to dance to and like feel it out because you know
Yeah.
the rhythm and you're familiar with that music.
I've got rhythm. Who can
Yeah.
ask for anything more?
What?
I've got rhythm. Who could ask for anything more?
What?
It's a song.
Who's asking for it?
You're stupid.
Yeah.
yeah, I am. I'm so stupid.
But it was really great. It was really great to do something slightly different, and also like me and Nikki were already talking about like how can like Lindy Hop this and teach us in the classes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, but also understand that there's a roots to it and like you know keep it honest as well. Like it was really cool. There was a lot of people there. There
Yeah.
was a ton of West Coast people. There was a ton of beginner dancers from West Coast and Lindy Hop. There was a ton of Lindy Hoppers there, and there was a couple of like salsa dancers there. So it was like a weird mix of all these dance styles of trying to do this other dance style, and we're all like failing horribly together. But it was fun.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was really good. But yeah, that kind of leads us into our topic of this week,
Topic.
which is giving and receiving feedback or criticism. In the class that I was just mentioning, I started giving feedback to some people based off of what I felt like they were saying. Also, what like the teacher had come around and was like, oh, you should try it like this. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
cool. So then I was getting the feedback that way. But then as we went around, because it wasn't the biggest class, but as we went around enough times, they would start giving feedback to me, and that was some good stuff. And I was like, cool, I needed that.
What kind of like? Do you remember what they were saying?
Yeah, there was one in particular that she was telling me when she did it with the teacher, with the leader teacher, he was doing it sort of quicker and faster at a certain moment, and also not to pull person in, but like move myself around a little bit more.
Kind of like Lindy Hop.
Yeah, well, like on the like what we would call a 5/6 of a circle,
Yeah.
like that step part. They do another number to it, but that during that section, I kind of move away too much to like create that space, and they're like, no, they don't do that space. They just kind of step in place, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But to understand that, to make it more smooth as you go around in a circle.
Yeah.
Lindy Hoppers, we would call it a circle. They call it a pivot, and that actually makes a big difference. So when I'm thinking of the circle as swing out, a circle in Lindy Hop, and like I'm kind of thinking that still kind of keep
moving,
that slot,
yeah,
but still having that whoop, voom, right? And they're just going voo, like they just kind of have this mentality of here. So it's really is a pivot. It's they describe a lot of their dance by male and female. So like a male turn, a female turn. A pivot is kind of a male is doing the pivot.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is it could be a little hard to hear, but at the same time, it's like that culture. That's a whole nother topic we need to get into. The South.
The South.
Yeah, and so the pivot is the male is doing the pivot, so the leader is doing the pivot. And so as I was doing, I was like, oh, I need to maintain that energy.
Gotcha.
And then the follow needs to like push me through it almost.
Gotcha.
It was intense. It was such a crazy thing. But
that's cool.
It's like stuff like that I was like, cool. I didn't get that before, so now I totally understand it.
Yeah.
It was
that's
really
cool.
Fun. But yeah. So the topic this week, giving and receiving feedback, it could be hard.
Yeah.
It could be hard, but I think nowadays that is the key. If you're taking a lot of classes, it's not only just paying attention to what teachers are doing, or what's being said, or changing your own dancing. Is having that individual experience together with your partner, especially in a class, and that's just like the first of many places it can happen.
Yeah, I think also like. So many times we feel apprehensive about giving feedback to someone, or even taking. You're so mean to my cat. Why would you do that to her?
Because she's rubbing herself all over my stuff.
It's too late. It's too late now. She's already rubbed.
I know.
She's already done it.
I know, all over my jacket. Oh
Mikey just scared my little Charlie. Oh, baby, are you okay? She's like, I hate him. I hate him.
I can't help it. I will die.
I will die. Anyway,
Sorry.
What I was saying before was so rudely interrupted
by Charlie. I know,
by
right?
Mikey.
Jeez, Charlie.
Anyway,
Charlie.
I feel like so many times we feel apprehensive to give feedback to people, even if they're like, hey, how did that feel? Because you don't want to offend somebody.
Yeah.
But I think having a different attitude or a different perspective on it and just making it way more casual makes it so much easier to handle. And then everybody can learn and grow from that instead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
This was something Scott Angelus and I were talking about a lot at Cowbell, where we should just have a culture where we can be like, hey, you know what would really help your dancing is if you did this in this certain moment, you know?
When you guys started doing it, because I wasn't around when you guys were talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
When you guys got into it, how did you get into it? Like, how did you get the discussion started about like, hey, let's do some feedback on each other?
Yeah. Well, so what happened was we were just kind of talking about like the scenes that we're in now, because he recently moved to Knoxville, and we haven't really had a chance to catch up since I moved to LA. So we were just talking about the scenes that we're in and like how things are going. And I told him that like I thought when I moved to LA that my Lindy Hop career was going to really skyrocket, because I was like almost living exclusively off of Lindy Hop in Albuquerque. And I was like, oh, well, LA is an even bigger scene, which means like a bigger pool for me to draw from. And then I can like dance every night of the week, and there's going to be all these amazing dancers there. And then when I got here, everything just like came to a screeching halt. And I hadn't really been able to pick it up off the ground since then.
Right.
And I had said that additionally, like, I didn't feel like I had a lot of opportunity to work on my dancing, because the style of Lindy Hop in LA is very different from what I what I come up in and what I like usually ascribe to.
Right.
And that there was no one who really wanted to practice.
Yeah.
Like, there are people who like want to dance with me, but no one who wants to like really sit down and focus on stuff. And like, as much as people like to be like, oh, well, you can always practice on your own, like that, I think there's something to be said about that, but also like you can only
limitations to it.
yeah, there's a lot of limitations. And so and then we were like talking about contests and like how I don't usually do super well in contests, and I wish like someone would just tell me what I'm doing so that way I can like make these corrections.
Right, right.
So that way I can do better because
Or
like
do something with it.
or do something with it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so then he was like, "Hey, I'll take a look at your dancing." And so he spent a week like watching some videos of me dancing, and then we had a call a week later, and he told me all of his thoughts, and I wrote them down.
Yeah.
And I've been working on them ever since.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it's really a funny and tricky thing to get that conversation started, or
Yeah.
it could be.
Yeah.
Luckily, you guys have such a good, strong rapport and friendship that you guys be like, oh, I can understand each other. We can understand each other on
Totally.
our level, and we have this one feeling.
Totally.
And now we can kind of guide it towards like betterment or like evolution in your dancing as well.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I think also like just being open to receiving criticism was important. Like I wanted to hear what I need to work on. Like I have ideas in my head of what I should be working on, but I want to see like other people's perspectives of like I'm watching you dance, and from a very objective point of view, this is what I'm seeing you do, and this is something that professional dancers do that is different or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I was with you up until the like I was totally with you up until when you said this is what insert another dancer does. You know, like I feel like that's when it gets a little bit weird in the feedback or criticism, is that you should try to do the feedback and criticism directed more towards what the individuals are doing.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do it in the sense of, not you personally, I mean, I'm talking to everybody, you as a general statement. Maybe people could try instead, because this makes it a little bit easier from what I found when I say, give somebody some feedback, is that I put it as a blanket statement as like, well, when I really like from followers is this, as I'm speaking to like a leader or another follower. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I really like when followers do this is like, sometimes other followers do this. That's okay too. It works. But as long as you have the same, there's always like a same consistency, which is like the way you hold my hand or the way you move through a triple step or something.
Yeah.
It could be.
Well, and he said that he was like, you know, for this thing, this person is a good example.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
like
there you
for
go.
this thing, this person is a good example.
Yeah.
Or like maybe you could get some ideas from watching this person dance in this particular video.
Yeah, that's a really good thing, especially when it comes to like one-on-one stuff like that. Like when it comes into a classroom, I feel like there's three ways to think of it that I can think of off the top of my head. There's one way is like as a teacher, whether you're a leader or follow, and you're going around and you're giving little feedbacks to people.
Yep.
Kind of as a side note as well, like with that trick, like if I see at least two people doing something that is very similar, I'm like, oh, okay, they're not quite, you know, they're not quite getting the feeling of it, or they're not quite understanding that position or that part of it, and that's really key. I'll just go ahead and not even give the feedback to the people and just stop the class and give that note to everybody.
Me too.
You know,
Me
and
too.
And I feel like that's a little more powerful because then even the people who didn't know they were doing it are reflecting on it and seeing like, okay, am I doing that? And the people who didn't know that to look at that, they're going, okay, I'm gonna make sure to put a little extra
to not
focus
do that,
on that, or put a focus on that section, whatever that may be. So that's a way of feedback can go. The second way is a leader to a follower saying, you know, like, oh, I need a little bit of this, or can you do this, or let's try this together. And the same thing happens from follower to lead. It shouldn't be any different, but I separate the two because it could be different things that I'm looking to you for, or I'm looking to myself for, and then vice versa.
Right.
So when it comes to that stuff, like in class, I've seen the community go from don't talk to anybody in the class, like don't give each other feedback, we're gonna give it to you, to like complete open feelings and like hey, talk to each other. You'll figure it out together, or you'll figure out something else, or you'll figure out something better. Yeah. You know?
I mean, I know like when I was like an intermediate dancer and taking like a lot of classes and going to a lot of workshops, I did not like hearing feedback from people.
Yeah.
And I think a large part of it was because I didn't trust them to know what they were talking about. And I don't want to say that I didn't respect them as dancers, but I didn't want to give respect to their opinion in that moment.
Right,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. You felt it was more like on you that you felt that way, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't on them. They were just talking, and the way
Yeah.
you took it was like a little bit.
Well,
Don't want to
I
listen to
mean,
that from
it
you.
depends. Like sometimes like the teachers would encourage us to give feedback,
Mhm.
and then someone would say something to me and I'd be like, no, I don't know if that actually applies to me.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I would be dancing in class and someone would be like, you're doing this wrong, or you're
Oh,
doing this,
yeah,
and I'd
yeah.
be like, I don't think you know what you're talking about, and I'm gonna ignore you.
Did you say that to him?
No,
It'd be so
no,
great.
God,
It'd be so great.
that would be really funny, but I was not bold enough to
But
say
I
that.
feel like that's in the same level. You know, you're not like one upping them. You're like, well, this is what you sound like.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true. That's true.
I mean, I wouldn't condone that, but at the same time, it's still funny. It's like if that comes up, like I would be like, okay, you could have said that better.
Yeah, right. Like, oh,
Yeah,
that's a nice harsh way
think-
to put it.
I think also as well, like being a teacher is also giving the example. Like, and I feel hopefully students should take that example to heart in the sense of, hey, talk to each other, be respectful.
Yeah,
You know, be aware that this is an art, because as soon as we tell somebody what we think about what they're doing,
yeah.
they take it personally and they can't help it.
Oh,
But-
totally.
And even to this day, I still take it personally. But like the same time, like I'm just like, okay, I respect that feeling, but I'm gonna like move on, like because this could be something.
Yeah,
And even if it's not, maybe at least I tried it and be like, no, I actually want it that way.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Is it hurting you? No, it's just different. Great, I have a different option.
I just wonder, like, since we brought that up, like, what is a good way to acknowledge that? Like, if you're like in rotation in
Mhm.
class, and you get rotated to somebody, and they're like, "You're doing this wrong,"
Mm.
and they like immediately pin it on you, and you're like, "Oh,
You know what's the best way to do it is to I think personally, is to ask them, be like, oh, what did you want? What did you need? Put it on them to explain themselves further.
yeah,
So maybe we can figure out together, or we can see maybe it is me, or maybe it is you, because that's what happens when there's two people. You know,
exactly,
maybe it is me, maybe it's you, or maybe it's both of us doing two different ideas.
yeah,
So I mean, those are the possibilities, right?
yeah,
So when it goes to that point where like, oh, you're doing this wrong, and I'm like, oh, okay, what part of it? Can you show
Yeah.
me? Can you tell me? How about this? Does it feel better? How about this? Does this feel better? And then like go through it and make them. Not everybody is the best at talking,
yeah,
right?
Truth.
And it could be very, very hard. Again, we take a lot of things personally, and classes can be a struggle for a lot of people. But I think in the long term, if there was nothing prior to that, there's probably no malicious intent there. There's probably just a little bit of like, I feel this and I need to say it out loud real
words,
quick.
words,
Yeah, emotion.
Blah.
Yeah, like, and I think that way. But the other part is also, I could say that at the other end of the spectrum is like, hey, thanks, but I'm not gonna take any feedback right now. I'm kind of working on my own things right now. And
I like that
apologize, you know,
too.
like I think being honest and upfront with people, I think is probably the best.
Honesty is the key to life. If only there were a guitar playing in the background right now. Oh yeah.
That was my guitar solo. That
Oh,
was my
it was
scale.
a really
That was my
good,
scale.
really good solo.
Thank you so much.
It was
I've been
very-
working on it for all of 2 minutes now.
Jeez, I am starstruck.
I think
Hello.
you know what's funny? I think that's like the third time I made you sing so far in this
In
podcast.
this podcast.
I think you've missed it.
Oh god.
But
Oh,
I mean, so that's a class atmosphere. Now here's a part where it could be really weird: the social dance floor. Right now,
guilty.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think we all have been. We've all had this moment where like, hey,
Yep.
but I think especially on your part being a follow,
Yeah.
you probably want to do. I mean, we've talked about it so many times.
We've
already.
talked. Yeah, we've talked about it. The best feedback that I've ever received on the floor was I was at the Rockabilly dance in Albuquerque on Tuesday night,
Oh,
and I
know that place.
I know that place so well. I was dancing with this guy, and he was like, I was at like a point where I was like getting pretty all right,
Yeah.
and he thought he knew what he was doing, and
Mhm.
we were doing like side by side Charleston, and he was trying to like do all these crazy variations,
Like you do.
like you do,
Yeah.
and he wasn't leading me in anything, and he wasn't leading me to do anything.
Yeah.
So I was just standing there because I was like, if he's not gonna lead me, then I'm not gonna follow. I was like doing one of those things,
Yeah.
and he like kept trying to do all this fancy stuff, but he wasn't even repeating what he was doing a few times in a row to see if I would like catch on. He was just like was constantly changing what he was doing.
Yeah.
Finally, he stopped dancing and he turned to me and put his hands together like this for like his fingers like this, and he goes, "Why don't we just go back to the basic?"
Yeah, I remember you told me about this story before.
Yeah,
actually,
and I was like, "Isn't that great?
Why don't we go back?
Why don't we go back to the basic?"
Let's just go back to the
Or
basics.
I would be like dancing with somebody and they'd be like, "Oh, is it your first time dancing?"
Oh God.
And I'd be like,
The assumptions, like, okay, so first off, none of that is feedback or criticism. You know, like that is
It's just
nothing.
like-
That is a blanket statement.
just like mean
Why don't
stuff.
we go back
Why
to the
don't we go
basic?
back to
And it's
the
like
basics?
you are a beginner, or like you are not as good as me.
Yeah.
You deserve a talking to. Like that's not what we're talking about, right? That's the shitty part.
That's
on
the shitty
social
part.
dance floor. You know, like that is neither helpful nor does it make the dance any better.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I mean, we've touched on this before. Like even if you do dance with beginners, like just have a good time.
Just have fun.
You don't
just
have
have
to.
fun.
Yeah, you don't have
Just
to.
have fun.
You don't have to have like the most amazing dance of all time. You just have to swing out a few times, and that beginning level,
or maybe
dancer-
not. Just step side to side the
Yeah,
whole time and
yeah.
like
But,
have
like,
a good conversation.
I'm saying like more like on the social dance floor. Like if it was like just a dance, and like they're a dancer that maybe has just began a few months ago, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
see you dancing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. I really want to dance to them. They come up and ask you to dance, and they start dancing with you. All they want to do is a couple swing outs and feel what that feels like.
Totes.
There's no reason if you're a more experienced dancer. Yeah, you totes, you did it. Yeah, you totes it. You totes
I said totes and then I made a face
Yeah.
like, did I just say
Yeah,
that?
you did. Yeah. But you know, it's like it's as an experienced dancer, you should be able to continue the feelings and the know-how that you know to
Yeah.
feel good in your body and transfer it to what they're doing, even if they're not completely doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
still have that experience there. And so every time that happens, like just dance like a normal person. Don't need to say these fucking blanket statements like
Yeah.
people out there. God damn, that pisses me off a lot.
I do remember one time giving somebody criticism. And to be fair, I did like at the end of the dance, I was like, hey, can I give you some feedback?
Yeah.
It was like so long ago. And
Yeah,
the guy
I
was like,
remember.
sure. And I was like, you're pulling me really hard on the 5 and 6. And instead you should be stepping through and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay. And I was like, ooh, I just made a boo-boo. Like he was
Really?
like, yeah, well, he was like, clearly he didn't want to hear the criticism.
But why do you say yes then?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
like maybe to be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, because like, how weird is it when you're like, hey, can I give you some feedback? And you're like, nope.
I mean, I don't know. It's honest.
It is. I mean, it is honest, but most people are expecting for you to say yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I guess. Kind of, sort of.
But
I don't
he
know,
got
my
like
mind hasn't
super
changed a
weird
lot.
afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, that's the shitty part. So on the social dance floor,
Yeah.
shit can get real.
It gets
real fast.
Oh, damn.
Real.
It's so real up in here.
Went so fast. We went from 0 to real so fast.
So fast.
So
It was
fast.
like a Corvette.
Like a Corvette? That's the best you could do? It'd be like a Tesla?
Like a Maserati.
That's better. Thank you.
Maserati almost hit me in the face yesterday because it was driving so fast and wasn't watching out for me. When I was walking across the crosswalk. For me. When I was walking across the crosswalk.
Just try to put more syllables in there as fast as possible. Oh my God.
That was terrible.
You guys
That was
do
just
not know what you
bad.
just missed.
That was
It
just
was-
bad.
Wrists out, elbows up, lean back, side to side.
Like a chicken.
Like a chicken.
Baka buck.
We're being so good for a podcast.
That's why
right now.
Jews aren't rappers.
Oh my God. That's not true. That's not true. What is it? Mitsuki? Mitsuku?
Who?
His name. Never mind. Moving on. Stop
Okay.
coughing.
I'm sorry,
God.
you guys.
Slowly dying from the bronchitis.
I went to urgent care on Friday because I
God.
was still coughing really badly, and I was gonna make a doctor's appointment, but it was gonna be like another week or two before I could get in, right? So
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'm
cares?
just going to go to urgent care.
Yeah.
First of all, I get there and they're like, oh, what can I help you with? And I'm like, oh, I have a really bad cough. And they immediately take out like one of those face masks and they're like, here you go.
Yeah.
You can wear this. And all of the patients in urgent care had these face masks on. And I was like, oh, God,
Yeah.
what kind of diseases am I going to get in here?
Well, I mean, coughs and sneezes are the best way to transfer anything because there's so many water droplets that go out at once.
Spread germs. But I love to spread the germs.
So every time you've coughed, you've basically given it to me.
Yeah.
Across that
I've
table.
coughed all over you.
Ugh.
All over your little face.
Yeah.
All over your little big
Feel it on my.
markered face.
But yeah, so
So,
the doctor.
you want me to? Oh,
yeah, the doctor said. What did the doctor say?
So I went to the doctor, and they like.
Would you finish your damn story?
I'm sorry.
God.
They like took all my vital signs, and then the doctor came in. He was like, "Yeah, like what's the problem here? Because you look really good.
You
Like
look alive.
Like your vital signs are really good. You look healthy. You have full lung capacity. What's the deal?" And I was like, "I have a really bad cough." And he was like, "Uh-huh. Well, yeah, I don't think you have anything. Like you look pretty good." And he was like, "Let me hear you cough." And I coughed, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, you have bronchitis."
Wouldn't it be hilarious if he was just like trying really hard to like, he's like, hey, you're cute. I'm hitting you. You look great. You're
You look
totally
great.
fine.
You're
Totally And then he hears the cough, and he's like, he turns back into a
He's like,
doctor. He's like, oh no, shit, you're
shit,
sick.
You are.
I am going to give you some medicine.
Disgusting. You are disgusting. I have to use an inhaler now, which is sad.
Welcome to the crew.
I know.
Yeah, glasses, inhaler, and everything.
I've never had an inhaler before.
It's fun, right?
Although no, it's not fun. I'm every time I use it, I'm like, did I do it right?
Yeah.
Did I put it in my mouth? Did it accidentally go into my eyeball?
That's not how you do it.
I don't know
Don't
how you
do
do
that.
it. And then
My feedback is don't do it into your eyeball.
into your ball.
Into your eyeball. Bowl.
Ugh. Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
So you're sick.
So I'm sick. So
Okay.
still coughing. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
So on the social dance, we're giving and receiving feedback. Maybe not the best place to do it. But if you do feel strongly about it, especially a lot of follows, that's a weird statement to say, but I've heard so many follows say this to me. Like follow dancers, like they always say it's like some guys like holding on their hands, some leaders holding on their hands way too hard or on their back way too hard. You know, that little bit can help because if it hurts to you, probably is going to hurt to some other people as well.
I think if they're physically hurting you, then it's okay to say something.
Yeah.
Or like what I do, for instance, is if somebody's like crushing my hand, I like rip my hand out and then like place my hand back into their hand.
Yeah.
And most of the time they get the picture. They're like, "Oh, sorry," or like, "Oh, I got you now," or whatever.
I've heard that same thing from a couple other followers before.
You just like yank it
yank
out
it
real
out. Yep.
quick.
Yeah.
Like make it clear and then like place your hand back in how you want your hand to be held.
I mean that goes for both leaders and follows. To be fair, like I've been held a little bit strangely before by a follow, so I think doing that helps, as well as paying attention.
Yeah,
like paying attention to those little things that happen while you're dancing. Don't just think like your most amazing thing is ever, and you're just gonna dance all night long, and not pay attention. Like that's the idea behind this dance. That's what makes it so attractive to a lot of people. Is again the conversation that you're having. So if you're not listening to those little things like that, like swiping the hand away really fast.
You know what's interesting too is the people who I want to give feedback to the most on the dance floor are my friends.
Yeah.
Like because I want them to get better and to be more awesome. And
there's
so
a rapport there too, so you know how to speak to each other.
I mean, now I haven't done it with any of my friends, but I want to be like, hey, I know what you can do that would really make your dancing bomb. That's just like a tiny change.
Mm-hmm. So moving on from that, after a contest.
Contest,
like asking the judges, like, hey, can I get some feedback?
Oh yeah.
Excuse me, can I? Excuse me, Mr. Rachel Green.
Mr. Rachel Green.
Yeah,
oh,
Mr.
Jesus.
Rachel Green, can I have some feedback on that contest I was just in? Ended up for Jack and Jill.
You know what's sad, you guys, is that I have been mistaken as a dude so many times in my life.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I would have never.
Also, I've been mistaken as being Asian. You guys look up my picture and tell me if you think I look Asian. Nothing against Asians, but I just don't think I look like one.
I mean, no.
Like, not even a little, right?
Not even a little bit. I mean, maybe you had a bad squinty day.
I
don't know.
I don't think I have like giant eyeballs.
Yeah, but like they do get when you get tired face. When you get tired, Rachel. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
But
I
still
don't
not.
know.
No, I don't know. Well, whatever. But I was just saying, Mister, because I just wanted to sound funny.
Oh, well, fine.
Yeah, but I mean,
Go ahead.
I mean,
Bring up childhood
get it-
memories, but whatever. Okay.
Really?
Well, my brother used to make fun of me by calling me Richard instead of Rachel, and it would make me
Richard.
it would make me so mad.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
I'm
called me
sorry.
Richard.
That sucks.
No, it's okay. It's cool.
You still harbor some deep feelings against that?
No, not really. But I mean, now I think it's funny because,
Okay.
like, what a stupid thing to get so
What
mad
if,
about. But
what if I call you Dick instead? Instead of
I'd be
Richard?
like, "No, you're a dick."
Excuse me, Dick.
and then I would like storm off and stare at you the whole time.
Excuse me, Mr. Judge Dick. Judge Dick.
Why am I a judge?
Because I'm asking you for the
Oh,
feedback.
because I'm a judge.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Feedback. Gotcha. I'm on it. I'm on it.
15 minutes later, she got the
I'm
joke.
on it. I'm
you
on
guys,
it, you
that's why she's
guys.
in the improv class, not me.
Hey-oh. What?
But after a contest, how many times have you asked for feedback from a judge?
Never actually.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
feel like you have. No, I feel like you told me a story
No.
once. Not even the team one?
My teammates did, but I
okay.
wasn't there.
All right, yeah. I know I had before asked for feedback from a judge, and I got the best because I was in a mood.
Yeah.
I was in a fucking mood. It was just hating the life. It was at ILHC, and the judge told me, "It's like, look, obviously you're fucked up right now, but your partner wasn't. She was trying to get you into her world. Go meet her in her world because your world is shit right now."
Oh, dang.
Yeah, he gave me some
That's
real
harsh
words.
reality.
And then I was like, "You're right." So then I went upstairs. I talked to my partner. It was Joe. It was for the
Okay.
slow dance contest. Because if you see the prelims, like you can see I'm like trying things and nothing's happening. And she's like, "Join me, like join me on this
Yeah.
side. Come on with me. Like, obviously your
Wait,
shit is not working."
What
Come
year
on
was
over."
that?
I can't remember. But
Slow dance
so-
contest at
yeah.
ILHC?
Yeah, they only did for 2 years. And
Okay.
so then we talked about it, and then when the finals came, it was like it felt so much better and so much lighter. And I was just like, I'm gonna follow your lead. And it's fucking Joe Hofberg, right? She creates a world of unicorns, crazies,
She's a superstar. Superstar.
Yeah.
She's so super. Burn, burn,
Dun,
burn, burn, burn,
and
burn, 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 burn. Joe's gonna dance now.
that was really good.
Thanks.
I like that one. I like
Thank
that
you.
one. That was
Thank
good
you.
one. That was a good one. So after that feedback, like I was like, okay, I'm gonna jump into her world, and it was so much easier. It was so much easier. I was ripped out of my mood and put into a better one immediately because
That's good.
because of the feedback and talking to my partner. You know, like I think one of the biggest things about contests is not necessarily winning. It can be. That is one. But
Yeah.
for me, when I look at a contest, I go, that was a moment of my dancing, a moment in time of my dancing. That's not to say that is everything of my dancing before that, or that is all that will be of my dancing after that. That was a moment. So take it as a kind of training tool for yourself to be like, okay, that's where I was right there. Obviously, I was under pressure. Obviously, you're the lights and the people and the music and the excitement, the adrenaline. So that's how I dealt with it. How can I deal with it better, or am I happy with that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that's how I feel about like that kind of after the contest thing, and asking for feedback from judges is also great because they're watching with a super critical eye. They're not watching for just things they think is good. They're watching for things that uphold the ideals that they have of Lindy Hop.
Yeah.
And so like they're gonna have an opinion. Maybe if it's a giant contest, you know, like those Jack and Jills that last like 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like maybe not the best time, but like if you're in a final situation, the finals, ask them. Or I mean, yeah, I feel like every judge I know has always been open to giving feedback and at least a little bit of a note that they made about you.
Totally. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think as my experience as a judge, it's hard to give feedback in those really large Jack and Jills because you are looking at so many people
It
and
can
you
get
have
confusing.
it gets very confusing and you have so little time to actually look at everyone.
Yeah.
That the amount of time that somebody's actually looking at you is quite small. And so
Really
if
is.
you, especially if you have something specific that you want answered, it might not be the greatest time.
Mhm.
What I think is probably better is if you get footage of the prelims, and then you watch it yourself.
Oh, that's a
and
really
then
good
you
idea.
can
That's a
do a
really good
little
idea.
bit of self-assessment.
Yeah, and if you can't even do the self-assessment, then you shouldn't ask anybody.
I-
Because, like
yeah.
self-assessment as in, like, if you can't watch your dancing critically and be like, I could do that better, or I like that, like, make
Yeah.
decisions. Or even if they're like, I don't know how that felt. So then you go back into, like, a practice mode and you try that out. But anyways, but if you can't get into that feeling, then maybe you shouldn't ask anybody for feedback because you're not ready for that. You don't know how to put it. You don't know
Yeah.
how to apply it to your dancing.
Well, and the few times that I've like overheard other people ask for feedback after a large prelim, most of the time the judge has been like, "Well, these are the things that I'm looking for,"
Yeah.
and that's the reason why these people made finals.
Yeah,
or
and that's
whatever.
That's usually actually really good feedback because then they're essentially saying that I didn't feel like you hit my criteria
Yes.
of the thing. So, like, here's my criteria.
Yeah.
So not saying directly that, like, they're like, you're bad at this thing, fix it. It's like, hey, here's 3 things that you could work on.
Yeah, and I think especially in an open Jack and Jill, like an all levels thing
Yeah.
or whatever, the thing they're looking for is like, are you dancing on beat? Are you connecting with your partner? How cohesive is your dancing with your partner?
And then the last thing is if all those are met, which they usually are on a good dance floor.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna go, what are they doing special with it?
Exactly.
That's the last thing, and I think that's where it kind of goes into like things about like level tests and private lessons. Level test is that same idea. It's like, what are you doing with the dance? That's what separates people eventually. And again, in that same sense of the contest, it has nothing to do with your dancing before or after that moment. It's just right there. That's why those level tests and like a lot of those auditions, quote unquote auditions, like, they're not true auditions. Like, they're not true. They're just an
Yeah.
assessment of what everybody in the camp looks like. It should just be called an assessment. Like,
I think it should be called like a relative assessment because like I know a lot of people, myself included, so many times in my life, you
Yeah.
go through your track auditions,
Yeah.
you don't get placed in the track you want,
Yep.
you feel like you deserve to be higher, you go and ask to be appealed, and they come back to you and they're like, no way, Jose, you are staying in the level that I put you in. And you're like, but you don't understand how
Yeah.
good I am.
Yeah, it's always, that's honestly what people say.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And like, I get it because people pay a lot of money. They're coming at it from out of town. So they have to fly in, drive in, whatever,
Yeah.
train in, bike in, and then like find a place to live and then pay the reservation fee and then like get there. And like your stress is already high. So you really want to have the experience you want. But at the same time, you have to understand that this is coming from people who do this as a living. So they're not just going like, well, I don't know who that person is, so they can go down to the lower level. No, they probably don't know 50 to 75% of the people in the room, and they're just going, cool, so you're going over there, you're going over there. So that they're the best people to actually understand what's going on.
And I think the other thing is that, like, just because the last event you were at, you made the advanced track, doesn't automatically mean that you're an advanced dancer or that you are going to be in the advanced track
Yeah.
at the next event you go to. It's all relative to each event that you are
and
at. Like,
and the dancers that are there.
yeah, sometimes you go to an event and the level of dancing is really high. And
Yeah.
so you're going to be placed in one of the lower tracks because you just happen to be a less experienced dancer at that event.
Or vice versa at another
Or
event.
vice versa. Exactly. And I think trusting your instructors is important.
Yeah, and I think if even if you wanted to, like, I just thought of this. I was like, what if you get placed in a level that you want to be placed at, and you know they're going to have an appeal session? I would maybe just go to the appeal session and be like, hey, I made it to the, or not like, well, hey, I made it to the class I've got it to, but I wonder if you could just like swing me out a few times and just feel it out. Give me one little note. How funny would that be?
Oh.
Like a 5-minute private lesson.
Yeah. That
Just
would,
like, boom, boom, boom.
you know, I
How fun would that be?
I know someone who I saw this person at an event
Mm-hmm.
one year. This was several years ago now. And they would not take the class.
Mm-hmm.
They would always like stand on the side and work with a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the class, they would go up to the instructor and be like, hey, can I try this with you a few times? And spend like 5 or 10 minutes working on this thing with them. And then be like, awesome, thank you. And then walk away.
that is, I mean, smart as fuck, but also dick. Like,
Right?
like it's both. It's such both.
I know. And
It's such a good thing and a
when I
bad
saw
thing.
this person doing that, I was like, what the hell are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, they're not even in the class.
Yeah.
And then they're spending like 10 minutes with the instructor. And then
Mhm.
they would take up like the time that other students would want to ask questions or whatever. And I was like, ah,
Man, I mean, I have so many feelings about that because at this event that I was managing, I won't say the name, someone did that, and then they ended up jumping into class, and I heard about it secondhand. I was like, "Ugh." But I mean, luckily that just makes me gonna go, okay, fine. I have more positions for volunteers next year to check everybody who walks in that door.
yeah.
So I'm like, great. You're gonna add another position for a couple people to come in there and work for my event that I'm managing, and we can make sure jerks like you don't get to go
Yeah.
back into the class because that's not unfair. That's unfair. But at the same time, it's kind of smart.
Super, very clever. Very clever.
The guy you were talking about, yeah. And then in private lessons, which can be very intimidating,
yeah.
right? First thing, before you go into any kind of thing like that, because it's all feedback and criticism that's going to happen, because the teachers, whatever teacher you're taking with, of course they're going to tell you what they feel in your dancing. So you can't just walk into it going like, whatever you think is good. Because like that's like the hardest thing to do. Have an idea of like, hey, like I really wanted to focus on my swing. I really wanted to focus on my triple steps. I really wanted to focus on my rhythm. I really want to focus on some new body movements that I can try into my dancing. You know, like stuff like you could be super specific or a little bit specific, like, but having an idea is always really good because it gives the teacher an idea to where to take you.
Yeah.
Or also where to begin on something, because then it'll always spiral into something else. You know, like maybe we should work on this, which can be really rough. I know I've been in a private lesson where I was a teacher, and the guy just did not like anything I was saying to him. Like nothing I could say would make him change his dancing. And I was trying to he's like I want to change it. I was like, I don't know what's, and I was trying my hardest. I'm like, okay, well, you're doing this, so like let's do this instead. And he's like, just tried it once and then like no. Like he wouldn't say no, but he would just like get quiet, like okay, like no facial expression, just like okay, just
stone face.
Yeah, and I was like for like fucking, when I figured that I was like 15 minutes into the lesson, I was like for 45 minutes, I was just like, all right, so I'm just gonna offer things. You're not gonna do them. So I'm just gonna keep offering things, and I'm just like
I don't know what else you do at that point. You know?
Yeah. And at the same time, like when he was dancing, I was like, you're dancing really well, like you're doing really fine. Like I almost want to like just give you new things to play with. So that's like what I feel like he was asking about too. Like he obviously knows he's a good dancer. So I was like, okay, how about this? And no, okay, how about this? He was looking for the next best thing, and I feel like he was looking for the next best thing, and I tried to give him just a bunch of things, and nothing was taking. So I was just like, all right, I'll take your money, and we'll walk away from each other. I mean, this shit happens, whatever, right?
At any point during that lesson, were you like, hey, how's this feeling? Or what are you thinking? And he didn't say anything? He was just like...
Not really. I mean, like, he would give, like, vague kind of things of, like, so how did that feel? And he's like, well, I feel like this. And I'm like, yeah, it's like this. But nothing, like, really introspective. Like, he was just kind of like, yeah, it was different. I never tried that before. You know, just, like, stuff like that. I was like, he wasn't, like, really
like, he
thinking,
was clearly just, like, not...
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't give him a ton of stuff to work on. But
Yeah.
I know I gave him a good amount of stuff. But I was just like, I mean, I didn't overload him.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have overloaded him. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm just like, at some point you have to take over and be like, just feedback and criticize yourself so much that you have to think about it. That's great. But don't come to a private lesson and expect me to be like, you're amazing. You're great.
You're so awesome.
Pay me.
You're the best.
Like, I guess like I'm like a hooker. Like, fucking like, here, pay me to make you feel good.
Oh my God. I have the best private lesson stories.
Go for it.
If anybody ever takes a private lesson with Kevin St. Laurent,
that fuck.
They should.
That piece of
that
fuck.
hack.
I love that guy.
You should. So this is what I did. Was I was going through this trend where I was taking private lessons, like I would say like once every couple of months with the same instructor or set of instructors, like 2 or 3 times in a row, so that they could like kind of build on
track your progress, maybe.
Yeah. And then like move on to somebody else. So I had a private lesson with Kevin, and he was like, "Hey, what do you want to work on?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like really want to work on my V slides. Want to work on V slides." as a joke, and I like
Oh, okay.
and I like said it like that. Like I was.
I'm like looking at him like, really? Like
I thought I was clearly making a joke, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, for sure. Like, let me just put my slick shoes on.
Yeah.
We can totally work on slides."
And you never told him the opposite?
And he like starts. I thought he was like giving me banter.
Jokes go wrong.
I thought he was giving me banter, so he's like, but then he like starts taking out his shoes and like actually starting to put them on. And I was like, wait, I don't actually want to work on that. I was just joking, and he was like, oh. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's cool. Like, whatever, that's fine. I'm just so used to people like saying whatever, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Like, we'll work
in work
on
mode.
That
That
he's in work mode.
Exactly like
That's
Kevin.
exactly what he
That's
said.
exactly fucking Kevin.
A couple months go by,
Yeah.
and we're in a lesson together again. He's like, cool, what do you want to work on? And I was like, yeah, I just really feel like I want to work on my V slides right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sure thing. Let me just take out my slick shoes. And I was like, hold the phone just a second here, sir.
That's the thing.
I made the exact same joke to you like 2 months ago, and you said the same thing, and I am totally just joking. And he was like, oh, crap. Oh, no.
That is hilarious.
So
that is so true.
Everybody should go out there
that
and
is
be
what
like,
happens when
be
you,
like, I want to work on my V-slides.
that is what needs to happen every time with Kevin.
How
like,
funny.
Everyone out there should start a private lesson with him with some kind of joke and see what happens, and just keep doing it over and over again until he finally gets it. Oh, I get it.
The creme de la creme of all stories that I have with Kevin is that he came out with Carla to Albuquerque. Like, he came out twice.
Years ago.
Many, many years ago. And then we brought him and Joe out for 505 Stomp one year. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in like 2012 or 2013 or something. And I was driving him and Joe around, and we're like going to the grocery store or something. And he makes some comment like, oh, yeah, it's so funny. I've never been to Albuquerque before.
What?
And Joe is in the back seat, and she's like, no, you've actually been here twice.
That's so great.
And he was like, oops. Like, oh no. Have
Gotcha.
I?
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Oh man, that sounds horrible. That sounds horrible. Like, I know I've done that a few times where I'm just like, where am I again?
Where am I? Have I been here before?
I have had that moment where I woke up in like a hotel. I'm like looking up the ceiling. I'm like,
what city am I in?
Oh yeah, okay. It takes a few minutes. Like, it's really funny. But back to the topic.
Back to the topic.
that was a fun detour.
Just diversion here and there all over the place.
So we just named all a bunch of stuff like classes where all the possibilities
all the places
as
could
a dancer,
happen, yeah.
It could possibly happen. The positives and negatives for giving feedback. So the positives, of course, is like you get to understand another point of view of your own dancing.
Yeah.
Right.
By giving feedback.
Just feedback and criticism,
okay,
whether you're giving it or whether you're receiving it, like, you know. So like if you're receiving it, you get to see that point of view from somebody else. Especially for me, coming from another follow, like every time I take that really, really to heart because I'm like, okay, you know, because you've danced with all these other people, so it's kind of an opinion you formed.
Like, you know, don't you, or don't you? Like,
or
no, you do,
or don't you?
You do.
You does.
You do.
You do's.
You do.
You do's.
You so do's.
You so do's. You're just so.
You're just so like do's.
We're idiots. Idiot. Got you by that bronchitis. That's right.
I am so sorry.
Doesn't it feel like little gnomes are in your lungs, like pulling at your like that? Being like, cough now.
The worst part is that, like, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, except for the cough.
And
then it makes it feel like horrible.
And the cough makes me feel yucky.
So, the positives of feedback, receiving and giving the feedback. What do you think?
I mean, I think having more open communication in general in our lives is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think being open to seeing other perspectives and staying grounded about where you are actually with skill levels with anything is really important.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to recognize is I feel like most people who are trying to give you feedback are doing it because they want to see you improve. They want you to be better.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really, really, really interesting key right there, because I feel like that is what a lot of people should be thinking of. Like, I want to help you. I want to help you out. And I think a lot of the times when people give feedback, it's because they want it. Like they need this from you, as opposed to like, I'm trying to make you better.
Yes.
You know, like it should be like safety, of course. If something hurts, that's a different kind of it's a different thing. But if you're just like, oh, it feels a little different, like, why don't you try this? And then you feel it, make it feel different. And then you have options as well. Like, maybe you should go back to the other one. Okay, now try this new one again.
Totally.
So that's really good. The negatives, I feel, the negatives could be like, you never know what the person's in like giving feedback. You never know what the person is like right now. So that could be like whatever you say, whether it's the best way possible you could say it, or like the worst or whatever, but like the best way possible. Like, they just may not be able to feel it. You know, they might not be able to understand it.
Yeah.
They may not be able to receive it in any way because they're just not there.
Yeah.
Or their head is already in a negative space, you know?
We, at my company, we had to go through a training of like how to like conflict resolution kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something that we had to do, or something we're supposed to do now, is if we have to give someone criticism for some reason, to be like, hey, is it okay if we chat for a moment?
Yeah.
Is it okay if I give you some feedback?
Yeah.
And then from there, you can gauge like whether or not it's actually a good time to give them feedback, because maybe that person's having a bad day, or they're in a tense moment, or they're feeling frustrated,
or they're
already
dealing with a couple other things they're working out.
Yeah. And so just to be like, is it okay if we talk about this? Then you can see like, oh, maybe it's not such a great time. I'll put a pin in this and save it for later. Yeah,
no, that's a really good thing, because that brings us into the next like little feeling here is like, how do you say it? Like, maybe you should start out with like, hey, can I give you some feedback, or can we chat about this?
Yeah.
You know, because again, if we're in a classroom atmosphere, that's probably the best place to do it. Where you can chat with somebody. Music's on, just not necessarily to dance to. It's just to give you a beat.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, right? Especially if you're working on something like a technique, like a body positioning, like
totally,
or like you're just working something out. Like, it just depends on what you're working on, right? So in that case, like, take that moment, instead of just jumping into dancing. Like, hey, let's talk about this for a second. Like, what do you feel about it? Or what do I feel about it? Okay, cool. Can I give you some feedback? Yeah. Can I give you some feedback? Yeah. Okay, great. You know, and hopefully it works out that way, and you could feel it out a lot better. The way you say things is going to be more important than actually what you say.
Yeah.
I think. And even if I say, like, I could say something to you right now and be like, I hate you. Like, weird, right? Like, this is fucking weird, right? But if I go like, hey, Rachel, like, sometimes when I'm talking, could you not sing?
I hear what you're saying. Here. Okay, I got it. I got what you're saying.
Okay, go for it.
Because this is something that we've been talking a lot about in my improv class with my teacher. Okay. He calls it speech act. And what it is,
I always love this. There's a fucking name for everything.
I know, right? What it is the words that you say during improv doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's all about your actions and the way your voice sounds. So you could be like, I hate this place. Or you could be like, yeah, I hate this place.
Yeah.
And those two things, like, you're saying the same thing, but they mean completely different things. Because you could be like, or you could be like,
and everything in between.
And everything in between. Like, and you, like, me being like, you know exactly what I'm trying to get across without actually having said any words.
Yeah. It's very true. It's very true. Actually, that's a really good way to put it. Like,
I know.
How you say it is that.
He said that, and I was like, shit. Mic drop moment.
Yeah, I can totally 100% see that. Again, as many times in our podcast, improv saves our day.
Improv saves the day. It really does.
Now, the next thing we put up here is something that we were going to talk about. Before we jumped on the microphones, what Rachel, you said is like, sometimes you don't agree with feedback or criticism that you get, and I'm like, oh yeah, and so I put in here as don't agree with criticism. Question mark?
Question mark?
Yeah. And so like I just like my notes because I was like I know understand my notes. Like when I put it like that, I'm like because I had a specific question for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When when someone says something to you like on the social dance floor a lot because they often do
Yeah.
idiots
Idiots.
just unsolicited
That hack.
when that shit happens like how is the best way to deal with something that you like I wasn't ready for that I don't
And you're
like
just like
it,
blindsided.
and, yeah you're just blindsided because again I feel like you're the best person to talk about it this way.
I mean, I don't know
How
if
do you feel the best way is to deal with it?
It's hard to say because what I think is the best way and what I actually do are probably pretty incongruent.
Right, because
like,
we hindsight it, right? Because you're so blindsided, you're just like, no, bye, right?
yeah,
you know.
I feel like most of the times what you should do is just kind of like take it gracefully or take it in stride and be like, thanks for that feedback. I'll keep it in mind.
That's a good way to do it.
Because that's all you have to say.
It's
like
straightforward and good.
And just because they've blindsided you doesn't necessarily mean that what they've said is wrong. And even if you don't agree with it, doesn't mean that it's wrong either.
Mm-hmm.
It's still something to think about. Like if it still gives you a moment to be like, wait, do I do that?
A pause. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's still like that still makes it worth it because
That's
then
really
if you're
good.
like, no, actually I do it the way that I thought I did and not the way that this person is saying it,
Yeah.
like still gives you that moment to think critically about the issue.
That's so good. I mean, again, like it's more like the hindsight of like because this happens a lot.
Yeah.
And side note, just because you're a leader doesn't mean you know everything about this goddamn dance. So don't give unsolicited feedback when people are just trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
Unless it really absolutely hurts somebody like physically, then I think it's all right to be like, hey, this is just a little hurt. Can you move your thumb? Which often happens to me as I always go, can you move your thumb just a little bit? It's kind of tweaking my, it's kind of tweaking my thumb. It's a little weird.
A little pressure point.
Yeah. So
Taking me down.
So in hindsight, if someone gives you a feedback or criticism on the social dance floor, and you know for a fact that's kind of like bullshit, how would you handle that? In hindsight, of course.
If I was like, no, they're just like totally wrong. Like, okay, let's create a scenario here. Like, what if someone was like, I'm trying to yank you forward on the one, and you just aren't coming to me.
Yeah. That's a good one. I feel like you've gotten that one before.
I don't know if I have actually. I have similar things.
Yeah. Again, it's the BS thing.
I would. Man.
Would you still do it gracefully? You probably still do it gracefully.
I would definitely try to.
Yeah.
I feel like though I would be a little bit blunter and more honest because if someone's gonna say something like that, they're gonna probably say it in a way that is a little bit more abrasive.
Yeah.
To which would like put me on edge a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I would probably be like, no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Like I don't need you to force me into anything. Like I am autonomous as a dancer.
Oh, that's a good idea. I think actually, but like you're going into like a conversation about it. It's like, well, actually, this is the way I feel about it. Like I noticed that,
Yeah.
Like, it's like one of those things. Like, you know what though? Like I haven't been in that situation, but I have been cornered by like other leaders who's like, "Don't you agree with me on this? Like, you taught it this way, or something. Like, you taught it this way, but you really mean this way, right?"
Don't you agree that at the end of every swing out, you should just slap the follow right across the face?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, kind of.
Right?
Some leaders
Am
have tried to convince me that I'm like saying what they're saying in their classes, and I'm just like, no,
not even.
And then instead, what I do is like I start a conversation with them. And then at some point where I'm just like, you're not going to agree with me, then I'm just like, hey, man, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I'm going to do this, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or another way to do it is just be like, I just keep talking and proving my point over and over and over again, or in many different ways I can think of.
Yeah.
Until the point where they're just like, oh, you've thought about this a little bit more than I have. And kind of overwhelm them in that sense. And that's only ever had to happen because they're aggressive towards me, and I'm just like,
I feel like
I'm just like, back off, buddy. I'll back off with words.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what happens to me too. Like if someone's being a little abrasive, I'll come back and like hit them with something
Across the face.
I'll just slap them right across the face and be like, sucker. No, I like hit them with something where like I've obviously thought about it critically a lot. And then they're like, oh, this person has thought about this a lot more than I have.
But even then, maybe the like what you were saying before I chimed in on this part right here is that you would say it's like, hey, actually I have thought about this, but it's like this. But also maybe next time if you can ask me about this because I was kind of blindsided. It's also telling the truth in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Like I know it's this. We're all thinking about this like hindsight, like afterwards, like many years or many days after the fact. I'm like, I should have said this, and
I know, right?
It could have not just put them down. It's not the idea of putting them down, but be like, hey, you did this to me. Do
you think that's like coaching someone too much on social skills? Like if you're like, but also you blindsided me, so
but that's what
next time can you not?
But that's what we're doing as dancers, though. I feel like that you have to have some sort of social skills to be able to communicate clearly without words. So like I feel like if
do you know what that sound was?
No, what was it?
The knowledge bomb going off.
It's so good. It's so satisfying.
Knowledge bomb.
Also makes me want to pee. But
stupid cough, man. Never leave.
Tip out there for everybody talking to Rachel. Don't make her laugh because she's gonna get a coughing.
No, it's been so bad in my improv classes.
Man,
it's been
that's so bad. I feel so bad for you.
It's been the saddest.
So the whole thing about criticism, I think, and feedback. I mean, I don't really like the word criticism. I like feedback better. I feel like that's a little more general, a little more vague for what we're actually talking about. But criticism is part of it. Yeah. It really is that. You know, it's a critique from one point to another, right? So in this kind of whole thing, kind of going off what you just said, like, is it social coaching? Like, I feel like sometimes, like, as a teacher or as a leader, like in this community, not just a leader as a dancer, but leader of a community. Like, I feel like that's what we have to do. That's just part of it. Like, you don't have to do it. It's an option you can choose to do.
Yeah.
You know, like, help people out because, like, that's what we're having. We're not in a different world. We're still in real life. We're still in the bigger world. So maybe what effect that you're having with this person right here in this class or in this dance floor or in this workshop is going to affect the next day when they're not in those classes or workshop. They're back in work or they're back in dealing with their family or dealing with family and friends or whatever. Like, but I think what we do does affect them to a point where, like, we can be some sort of a life coach in a way.
Yeah. I think also it's important to remember that Lindy Hop is still an art form.
Yeah.
People are going to take it really personally.
Yeah.
If anybody's done anything creative out there that you've been proud of ever in your life, and then somebody's turned around and been like, this is crap.
Yeah, exactly.
It hurts really bad, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was in a writing class in college, and we had to, like, write a piece on whatever and then submit copies to everyone in the class, and then everyone had to edit it, and then we would have, like, a whole discussion in class about your piece. And this one asshole in my class, every single time we were reviewing my work, he'd be like, I don't know what it is, but I just don't like it.
That doesn't help anybody.
That was his criticism. He was like, I just don't like it. And I was like,
wow.
You're a D-bag.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that takes us into our, like, last little thing about this, which is basically, like, it's be ready with some examples.
Yeah.
If you honestly don't like something, then maybe just, like, hold it back until you can figure it out.
Be specific. Be specific. Be specific. Be specific. Oh, what? Wink.
Everyone, she just held the pose with her fists in the air, cocked to the side, and winked at me. Oh man, we're so good for the podcast. We're so good. We have a life for a podcast.
We should turn this into a video podcast.
Oh no, because then they have to see us and they're like,
hi everybody. How's it going? How's it going? Oh man. So this week in my improv class, my teacher gave everybody feedback in front of everyone, and then he would give you a scene in which you had to work on the things that he just told you to work on in front of everyone.
Did I thought we did this when we were in Albuquerque, and thought you were in the class. It's the feedback session. I do a class like this exactly the same way.
Yeah. yeah, it was a similar class. This somehow felt way scarier.
Because you
I
have to
don't know.
talk.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you have to talk. It was terrifying, but it was also like humbling to just like have to sit there in front of everyone by yourself and like receive this criticism and then like
Try to work it in there.
immediately try to work it in.
It is something. It's something that I've definitely done in Lindy Hop where we call it the feedback session, and
Yeah.
we try to do something close to like where if I do it by myself, if I do like an event, I usually do it for like if I'm at a weekend and it's the local teachers, so they're better
Like
dancers,
more advanced.
the higher experience levels. Definitely go with them. And if they're smaller classes, like if it's more than 15 couples, you don't want to do that because it's going to take too much time. So what happens is basically you make them dance, then each instructor, or if I'm just by myself, will give one good thing, like, hey, you're doing, not good thing, one awareness of like, hey, you're doing this kind of stuff. And, you know, that's, I just want you to know that, like, you know, that you can work on this, build on this way. And then here's something else to like, you can maybe add into your dancing,
Yeah.
you know, and then give them those kind of examples and then show them what you mean as opposed to just verbally saying it to them.
Yeah.
And then they try it and they do another song where they work on that awareness part and they work on that next level thing, whatever that may be for them.
Yeah.
And you try to give it to a leader and a follower, right? And they dance again, and it's the same thing. It's so scary because you have to be vulnerable. You're having like a 5-minute private lesson in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know. And the best way to think about it is like if
you're working on your weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. Or I mean, like you're hyper aware of your weaknesses as you're dancing up there, right?
Yeah.
Then for everybody that's watching, so like the people that are in the class but not the person in the middle,
Right.
is they should be paying attention as well. So like I make sure to draw them in. So it doesn't look like I'm just talking to this one person while everybody's staring at you. So I keep staring at them as well. Like you guys could be working on the same thing, like this idea. So like the person, he or she, whoever's dancing in the middle, plus everybody else should be taken into account. And so every time someone goes up, like the first 3 or 4 people who come up always do the same thing over and over again. And then the last half is always like, oh, they finally get it. Like we're all doing this one thing that he keeps saying. You know, so it's one of those things where it's like as a group, you could be listening to feedback from somebody else and put it to yourself and go, I am doing this, ?
You know what else would be a cool class is to do something very similar to that, but instead have the classmates say like one thing that the dancer's doing really strongly and one thing they think they can improve upon. So that way it's like making everybody think critically about what's going on instead of just like the dancer and the mush pot.
That would be really good with a group of people who have strong rapport.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't necessarily suggest
with
that.
like a bunch of strangers.
Yeah, we've done it. I've done it in another class where it was a mock Jack and Jill, and we went through all the etiquette. We went through how they line up and all this different stuff. You know, just like every little piece of it. And then we did like 3 dances through rotations, and then the crowd would say it. And this is where we learned. We did the first time, and I was like. They started saying the negatives, and I was like, "Well, we'll say the stuff that they can work on. We want you guys to point out the stuff you liked."
Yeah.
You know, for instance.
Oh, because they were like, "You suck."
Yeah.
You're doing
They're
this.
like, no. They were like, your rock steps are like you could swing out like this way instead of that way. Like, and I was like, say the good things. So like, as a judge, we're the judge like all together, but you guys are focused on the positives. We'll focus on the parts that can need a little help or need fixing or can need adjustment.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I've learned. I'm like. Don't stick the dogs out all at once. Yeah. But I hear you with rapport with people like a group, especially like if it was like a group of dancers that are teachers from like one school. That can really know each other. Like then I think it's really good because it could be one of those moments where like let's talk about this. Let's get the conversation started. Yeah. So that way when after I leave, you guys can keep doing this over and over again to each other and help each other grow.
Or maybe somehow like giving them some sort of structure in which they give the feedback. Like the improvement I think you could make is
like a Mad Libs paper, like how to say it.
Yeah, like when you do your rock steps in a tuck turn, you're stepping really far sideways.
Sorry, I'm only laughing because that was like super specific.
It's like super specific.
Wow, yeah.
Well, but just to like be specific about something, but also like have that good structure,
right?
So that way you can like say what you mean and what you honestly think, but also say it in a constructive way.
Yeah, and I think another part could be saying what it feels like. He's like, here's what it feels like from my point of view. I feel like you're doing this, or it's like pushing against my back, as like a follower would say to a leader, or something, pushing against my back. Maybe it's not less of a pushing. Maybe it's more of like guide through with your body first, and your hand follows second afterwards. So that's what it feels better. Or just be ready like with like a, even if you can't really pinpoint exactly what it is, you just know where it's at. It's like the rock step during the tuck turn, like you were saying. The rock step during that tuck turn, something's a little off. Can we focus on it? Let's do it together.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I always feel like it's a together thing, whether it be you talking to me or me talking to you. Like it's always back and forth, and it should be something. Yeah, yeah. So,
bruh.
I mean, there's so much stuff. I mean, the last thing I want to talk about in this whole idea of receiving and giving feedback is like the old timers.
Yeah.
Like we talked about it before about Dean Rafferty and Don Hampton. Like they were known to just kind of like say whatever was on their mind.
Yeah.
To the dancer, whoever they felt like. Dean would definitely come over and be like, "Hey, don't do it like that. Do it like this." Like, you know, like he would definitely do that. And Dawn had her other way of saying it. She would give like the thumbs up to people she liked, or like she would beckon people to come over, and she'd tell them like, "You're so smooth. You're so smooth. Like, get some more rhythm. Get some rhythm." You know, like in the class, like there's that great one that's like from the '90s harangue where she's like wearing a blue shirt, and it's just like an upshot of her like right there, and like it's so great because all the feedback she's giving everybody is so specific to them. But on top of that, she's giving you inspiration on how to feel it out that is still so valid when I look back to it. You know, like it really informed me to the idea of like, yeah, I need to return to the rhythm. I need to like really find that rhythm through my body and not just kind of like make it artificially through my connection, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So that's one way to do it. I mean, for sure, like if you feel like you want to give some criticism, feedback, be ready for people who may not like it, and be ready for people that are looking for more information about it. So, you know, it's a run of the gambit. And I think the last thing, if you don't have anything nice to say, you know, maybe don't say nothing at all.
Truth. That is also true.
Yeah. So shall we move on?
Shall we move on to the question of the day? From our good old pal, Steve Juan.
Oh, our one and number one friend.
Hey, Stevie. He says, my aerosalons are wearing out. These days, I feel like they are looked upon with scorn. What should I replace them with?
It's not scorn as so much as it is kind of like, well, I mean, it's our podcast, so I don't give a shit. So, like, I do not like aerosalons, man. I think they were good a long time ago, and then the quality went real downhill real fast.
They went super downhill.
I mean, I get it. People like them. That's totally fine. You guys can enjoy them. As long as you feel good in your shoes, that's all that fucking matters.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, like, there's a lot of ideas out there of what kind of shoes you should be wearing right now. And for myself, like, I have to take care of me.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one who has to deal with my feet and my problems. Yeah. And so I'm going to wear the shoes that I want to wear. Yeah,
of course. I mean, like, who cares? At the end of the day, if we're putting on an Aerosalon or a Stacey Adams or a Remix or, you know, a Chloe Hong shoe, let's be honest, we're trying to just recreate an image that we've seen in a picture or a movie. You know, and while that can be fun and great, let's remember that we're working in an athletic dance. Like sometimes you just need to take care of your feet. Like sometimes, because like let's also be honest, there is no specific dance shoe for this life.
Totally.
You may have an insole that will save you some time and some energy.
You know what the athletic shoe would be for our dance?
What?
It's like a basketball shoe.
I mean, yeah.
Or like Nikes, a running shoe.
Something that's meant to take a lot of impact.
Yeah. And I guarantee there is not a single person out there who's Lindy hopping right now who is wearing proper shoes for the amount of impact that we're doing
and
on
the
a
amount
daily
of movement,
basis.
The movement and the sharp movement and the fast movement. I'm like, there's so much stuff. I mean, the closest thing, and this is not because of anything personal, but rather it hasn't to do anything with anything. It has to do with just what I've seen and what I've read about and what I've talked to some people about. There's the Saint Savoys.
Yeah,
I think they're the closest ones because they're that was Marin was selling that at Lindy Focus, right?
Yeah.
The maker of that shoe has tried to make shoes, especially for the men, or not the men's, but I guess the leaders' shoes, whatever, men's shoes.
They're men's shoes.
They're men's shoes, yeah. But like the bigger shoes, not the ones with heels, right?
Yeah.
So like she made them with the idea of like arch support and like helping us out. And she noticed the same thing. She's like, none of these shoes are meant for what we're doing. So it's like she's trying to do it. And she went to like the old people shoes, like we're talking about, the orthopedic shoes.
Yeah.
And like what makes them so much lighter, what makes them good and good for your feet and good for circulation, like stuff like that. Granted, I don't like a lot of their styles.
Yeah.
But they feel like, they feel
Really?
there's a different feeling inside them. They feel like on the inside, they feel like a tennis shoe.
That's
like,
nice.
Like a trainer or something.
I haven't tried on any of their shoes.
Yeah.
But I like for myself as a follower, I've spoken a lot about wearing heels on this podcast recently, and I just like I don't understand how these women are wearing heels all the time. Like there are some women I see who every time they're out dancing, they're wearing heels, and they must have never put their feet through trauma before because they're like dancing up a storm, and I'm like, my feet hurt.
I wonder if it's like a thing. It's like the smaller the foot, like the less those shoes would actually hurt. Like I
You
feel
calling
like
my feet big and fat?
No, I'm just calling them wide and frumpy.
They're like big clown feet. I have elephant feet.
No,
elephant feet.
Not clown feet. Not clown feet. Hobbit feet.
They're not hairy. I mean, come on, give me a break here.
But they have been to Mordor and back.
I mean, here's the thing, you guys, is I did 12 years of martial arts, and there was a time where I was probably spending between like 3 to 7 hours a day barefoot and like being active barefoot because I was teaching classes and working out and training and whatever. And I got plantar fasciitis so bad that I couldn't even stand without crying. So I went to the doctor, and they told me that I was not allowed to be on my feet for 2 months.
Yeah.
And so, which thankfully coincided with summer break. I was in high school at the time.
Oh, nice.
So I like sat on my couch all summer, which totally sucked. And like anytime I was standing up at all, I had to be wearing a shoe with an arch. So like even in the shower, I had to wear like special flip flops.
Oh, that's hilarious!
Like wedge flip flops in the shower.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. Like the pain that I put my feet through were so bad. And I had to get custom made orthotics, and I still wear them to this day in my shoes.
Those things are the best. Like you can wear whatever shoe you want, but if you get some orthotics like that, like it's worth the time and money.
I mean, I wear them in my Keds I never dance without them. And like I could stand on my feet in my Keds for like 10, 12 hours a day, and my feet will be in pretty good shape.
I think that's the idea behind them. Basically, you can just slip them on anything that you actually already own, and you'll be fine.
The problem is they don't fit in like heels or like
there's got to be some
ballet slippers.
Maybe
or
you have to get like another kind to do those. But
it's possible.
But it'd be worth it. It'd be worth checking into, because like that's the thing, everybody. Like you again, coming back to the question, like what should you replace Air Silence with? I mean, like whatever your heart's content. Like you want those pink shoes, go get those pink shoes. You want those like rad cap toes with the cool design, go get them. Get something that's gonna make it feel comfy on the inside, because that's all that matters.
Yeah,
no one's gonna see the inside, so no one cares.
I mean, I think what I gather from what Steve is asking is like, what kind of shoes do you wear? Like, what are your dress shoes that you like? What kind of brands?
I usually go with Stacey Adams just because I like the classic look. But that, I mean, honestly, like nowadays, especially for the last like probably year, I like walk into a venue, like if I'm going to looking nice, like if I'm wearing like a suit or something, I'll walk in with my Stacey's. But then like as soon as I get dancing, like maybe have 1, maybe 2 dances in those Stacey's, and after that, like changing to my Keds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I've been trying to look for alternative things. I found this one from China. Cause it says it's from China. It's on eBay. And it has the top is like a suede, and it looks like a nice old fashioned shoe, like a cap toed shoe. And then on the bottom, instead of like wood or plastic or leather, it is like the rubber that is on the bottom of the Ked.
Okay.
And that's really good because it gets just smooth enough.
Yeah.
Where you can do, where you can pivot your foot.
Yeah.
not slides, no V slides.
No V slides.
No V slides, but you can like also feel the ground and kind of grip it a little bit more. So
Yeah.
like those have been really good, but those are inconsistent on depends on what floor I'm on. If I'm on a floor that's really crowded and it's got a lot of like dust and dirt from people bringing it in from outside, it's just gonna be slippery no matter what. But like stickier floors, it usually worked okay.
My sticky shoes.
I like my sticky shoes, but like nowadays, right? Like in the last, I think, couple months, I've just been wearing my Adidas.
Really?
I'm wearing right now, yeah. They're like these feel the best, and these are just trainers, like they're not even running shoes. They're not like sports shoes. They're just meant to be like fashionable shoes.
Crush, quote unquote, crush trainers, like all encompassing, slightly active shoes.
Yeah, I think it's more like that's the thing. Slightly active shoes.
Yeah,
just slightly.
Slightly active.
Hey, do you ever wish that you could be a runner or play sports, but like are like sort of athletic, but not really? You need slightly athletic shoes.
Do you ever walk from your house to the park? Then you need slightly athletic shoes.
Do you jump on a bike for 5 minutes and then jump right off? You need slightly athletic shoes.
Have you ever walked to the bathroom before? You need slightly athletic shoes.
Do you need help going from the couch to the refrigerator? You need a life.
You need seriously, you just need a life.
Seek medical help
immediately. You should never be going to your fridge
but
ever.
Yeah, I mean, look, Steve, and everybody else. I personally do not like air silence. That's just me. But I'm not going to stop anybody from getting the shoe they like. So like, I think Peter Strom still actually wears his air silence.
I see a lot of people wearing air silence still.
That's fine. That's great. But I mean, again, whatever shoe you want to get it, but get some stuff to put inside them that will make your feet feel great, and that will matter the most, I think.
I think being conscious of how your body feels when it's dancing is very important to how you're going to dance.
Yeah.
And I think what you wear, particularly on your feet, is going to be very indicative of that. Like, there are so many times in my life where I've worn a shoe because I liked the way it looked.
Yeah.
And it was the least useful shoe in the history of time. Like, I have these boots that a friend gave me that I really like a lot that are great for, like, when it's cold outside or when it's raining.
Yeah.
And I had to go to an interview, and I was taking the subway, and I had to walk like a mile total to get like to and from the subway to the interview. And I got like halfway to the subway, and I was like, I can't do this in these shoes. Ow. I gotta call a lift.
Ow.
How stupid is that, right? And like, who saw my shoes at the end of the day at the interview? No one. That's who.
Oh, but really? No one.
I guarantee that the people interviewing me did not even look at my shoes.
That's an interesting thing. I think that's a whole other podcast. But I think like it's like the what you wear can sometimes doesn't need to be seen. It just needs to be felt. But if you didn't feel good in them, that's the other thing too, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, what's your bright side?
Oh man, I guess my bright side is like, communication, having open communication, being honest, and being more open to the idea of feedback, but in like a positive way. Like, you're receiving feedback because someone wants you to be better, not because they're criticizing you. Yeah.
At least, I mean, we hope. That's like, that is the brightest timeline.
I mean, that's what I actively tried to do.
Yeah. That's really good. I think most people should keep that in mind out there. If you're going to be giving feedback, what you said was gold, you know. But I think my bright side for today is that I love tacos and breakfast burritos.
Yeah. I made Mikey burrito before we started recording.
Good. It had bacon. It had hash browns. It had eggs. It had cheese, and it had hash browns, and then the piece de resistance, the green chilies.
The green chili. It's not chilies. It's chili.
The green chilies.
Every time. No, you just say it to make me mad.
Say it again.
You say it to just make me mad.
Say it again.
And it's green
Go
chili.
ahead.
It's just green chili. Just a single green chili.
Chilis verde.
Chilis verdes.
No, it's chili verde.
Chili verde.
You didn't remember?
Chili verde.
You said chilies.
Chili verde. No, you're stupid.
I know.
Also, you guys, I make the best breakfast burritos
She does.
in the world.
If you guys are in the Studio City area, come see
in the
Rachel.
Los Angeles area. No, seriously, like I've been making these burritos, you guys, for probably like 5 or 6 or 7 years.
So she's like a pro.
I'm like a pro, but every time I make it, I'm like, Jesus, this is so good. And then sometimes I eat it, and then I'm like, I could eat another one right now. It is so delicious.
We sat here with me, Rachel, and Brett, and we sat here contemplating for about 5 minutes after we had all finished our burritos, whether we were going to have one or not.
Should
and
we have
were
a
like,
second one?
Someone was waiting. We're like, if we make just one and we split it 3 ways, would that be bad?
Are we going to have another one? It was so good.
But yeah, because I had so many tacos this weekend. I had so many tacos.
So many tacos.
And then the burrito was just the last little
yum 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 yum. Yum yum yum
so
yum.
good. So that's my bright side for this week.
Sweet.
Hey, we never said the bright side had to be anything about dancing. So
that's right.
Leave me alone.
Okay, you guys. Thanks for listening out there.
Don't
you can check us out on the Facebook or
and the SoundCloud,
SoundCloud
and iTunes, and leave us your questions.
Leave us
and
the questions in the comments.
Let us know
if
you want us to talk about something in general, or
or
you
if
have a great topic. And then you can go to iTunes and you can rate and review us. Hopefully, if you review us really good, then we'll say it out loud. But if you review us and you say something bad, just still give us 5 stars.
Please. Thank you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. But I think that's it for this week. So, Rachel,
adios, amigo.
Bye.
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 Nope. Yes.